Hey, there we go. And we're all, whoa. I have to say, palette choice, Node's
It's
lime
very bright.
green. Yeah. Maybe it's just the texture.
Yeah, maybe.
So the first
It might
thing
just. Oh, go ahead.
uh, here, getting our shield, then go into the beach to get our sword. Wow, this lime green.
Yeah,
It's intense.
it's very intense.
Maybe all of our commentary is just going to be on this palette choice.
Yes. Let's
It
just
definitely
discuss
seems
the color of every pixel in this run.
this isn't a speed run anymore. It's an art show.
Yes.
Win or lose on the best palettes.
All right, so they're both going to go for something called early sword, where they pick up the sword while the owl talks, and it saves like half a second because it skips the owl flying away.
There's actually two methods of doing it, one from the top and one from the left, and they each showed off the different methods.
Yeah. So what we're seeing now is rupee duping, where they're gonna kill a bunch of enemies that drop rupees, and then hold out their shield. And because the shield has a different hitbox than Link, they're gonna drop on both the shield hitbox and Link's hitbox at the same time, and they're gonna pick it up twice.
My God, Node getting like the god RNG for his rupees.
It was pretty good. SeYsEySR is very unlucky here.
I'll say they just need one more. There we go. Not
Yeah, you
too far
wanna
behind.
get as many rupees from those enemies on the beach as possible, because I think they have a 1 in 2 drop rate, and the bushes have like a 1 in 16. So you need to be lucky to get some good RNG on those bushes.
So in the shop here, we're getting a couple items that we need for this run. First thing was stealing the shovel. Next, we get 2 sets of bombs and steal the bow, which is our main damage item, especially against mini bosses, because it is extremely overpowered.
Yeah, and they're semi-stealing the bombs by saving and quitting, like right as they hit the text box, which a text box that they're also actually skipping. And because the rupees never go down and they instantly save and quit, they do get the bombs, but they never have to pay for them.
You do have to actually have 10 rupees in your inventory.
Yeah.
So. Now they're headed off to the woods to get the key to the first dungeon.
And nice bomb trigger from Note there. So I guess that's the perfect time to start explaining bomb triggers. This game is not programmed very well. Also, SeYsEySR, very nice. So basically, when you drop 2 bombs in quick succession, as in like on a transition or quickly on a pit, the game doesn't really know what to do, and some weird stuff happens. Sometimes things get skipped, sometimes it just activates cutscenes, like it does on that raccoon there, and we're gonna be seeing a lot of that in the run.
So if you miss those bomb triggers there, stay tuned. They appear 50,000 more times.
They do.
Also, speaking of well-coded things, look at that keyhole right there. Definitely extends off to the side, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's just the game only checks if you're facing up and touching the block. It doesn't actually check if you're below the block. So yeah, we have finally made our way onto D1, where I guess we could start explaining some of these save and quit menus, because as you can tell, every time they open a chest, they're going to be opening their save and quit menu. That's because it skips a text of, hey, you got a key, and this compass has a new feature, although we're not getting any compasses.
Hopefully we're not getting any compasses.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Don't even get compasses in 100%.
Yeah, no. Maybe what is it? What's it called? All permanent flags or something?
Oh god. So note here getting the feather, which is probably either the most important or the second most important item. Run. It allows you to jump, and the developers underestimated the power of these jumps.
Yep. This is definitely the most broken item in the game. So that's a super jump. You want to explain that?
Sure. So there's this weird thing that can happen with your jumps. If you're slightly clipped into a wall and you jump off of it in a certain way, the game treats it like you're falling off of a ledge, which gives you a lot of height and distance that you can use to jump over things you normally are not supposed to be able to jump over. And you can use that technique to completely skip large portions of dungeons.
Yeah, we mean when we say large portions, we mean large portions.
There are some dungeons that just become so short.
Yeah, and D1, it's pretty trivial. We only skip a key with it, but we're gonna be skipping a whole lot bigger sections later on.
So both runners still neck and neck after D1, getting our lovely instrument.
Yeah, this is still pretty close. And that's really just because SeYsEy got such bad rupee RNG.
Yeah, that's true. SeYsEy did manage to catch you up very nicely.
Yeah, he did.
So the next thing that the runners will be doing is heading off to D2. But before they can get to D2, they need a way to get inside of D2, which means they have to save the lovable and wonderful Bow Wow from some moblins who stole him for some...
for something.
Yeah, I don't even know in the actual game if they say why. They just say, oh, they took him.
Maybe they just want to play fetch with him, you know?
Maybe, but why did they lock him up?
I don't know. So Bow Wow is
nice. Skipping the heart piece of shame there.
Bow Wow is a lot less horrible in this game than he is in the DX version. In the DX version, he can really mess you up, but in this game, it's not that bad. So this is Moblin King. We're just gonna murder him with a bunch of slashes, basically.
Ideally, he's an easy 2-cycle, as long as he doesn't accidentally take off with your sword or something while running into the wall.
Yeah, SeYsEy messed up there. Let's see if he can still get it. Alright, he did.
Very nice.
Yeah, he didn't get the first spin slash, but he saved it, which is good.
Next here, Node is going to do a trick called a flock clip. If you run into objects that bring up a text box like that rock there, brings up the bracelet to lift this text box, you can actually move slightly and use that to clip into, get around obstacles.
Yeah, it pushes you more into the wall, which means that you're 4 pixels into the wall, at which point you can just walk past it, basically. So their Node here is actively avoiding that powder pickup because he already intentionally wasted all his powder at the entrance to D2, and if he has any powder in his inventory, he can't get the mushroom, which we're gonna get right after D2 here. Also a very important item.
So many very important items in this run.
Every item is important, just not the hookshot. Hookshot doesn't exist.
Shield.
That one doesn't exist.
Level 2 shield is so worthless that the only category it's useful for is 100% for the definition. And then you don't
yeah,
even
literally for the definition. Like, even in the Link's Awakening DX 100% category, we get the level 2 shield, but we don't even use it, just because it's that slow.
level 2 shield. Maybe in the remake it will be your time to shine.
Yeah, I've definitely never forgotten to get the level 2 shield.
Oh, never.
No,
that would
never.
Be terrible.
So yeah, we're seeing a little route difference here, which isn't really a route difference. They're just doing things in a different order. So Node is going to get the mushroom, which he just did, while SeYsEy is going to get a warp point first. He's just going to enter the screen with the warp and then save and quit, because entering the screen is the flag that allows you to warp there later.
It's nice that you don't actually have to enter the warp. And also, don't yell at us, chat. This category is called Warpless. You are allowed to use those warps.
So yeah, now that we've done those things, we're ready to actually make our way to D3.
And over the hurt piece of shame.
Yep.
Very nice note.
So Bow Wow is going to eat a bunch of stuff here, and Bow Wow eating stuff actually counts as kills, which brings us to the piece of power, which is something that drops in D3, and it increases your movement speed by 25%. So we really want to get it, and it drops every 30 kills, but if you die or save and quit, then your kill count resets. So the only viable place where we can get it is D3, because we go a pretty long stretch without saving quitting.
Also, there are a million enemies in D3 that are easy to kill.
Yeah. So we just saw Node do a trick called Villa Skip there. And SeYsEy's doing it now, where they use the mushroom on that pit, then bring up the save and quit menu. And then they're like on the menu tiles kind of, which allows them to transition down and skip the entire trade sequence.
Oh, Node, please.
Please, why are you doing this to us?
Come on.
And that just...
ahead.
Yep, that just let him catch up all the way.
In order to actually get out of the villa quickly, you have to do a little trick involving sort of clipping into one of those pits and transitioning. Try clipping in too far, then you'll just fall into the pit, which is what happened to Node several times.
Yeah. It can be pretty tough. Oh, and Node's on 1 heart here, but he's past the worst room in the dungeon, so he'll be perfectly fine.
Those bomb enemies, whatever they're called, they're just a big pain. They go everywhere, and
yeah, they're super erratic, and they deal a full heart of damage as well. So this is the point where we'll hopefully see them getting a piece of power.
In this room they're both in. Looks like SeYsEy got his,
cool.
And so did Node. So that is
let's hope Node doesn't pick up that acorn by accident, because if he does, it'll overwrite the piece of power, and that would just be bad.
Node, please. So Node and SeYsEy did a trick there called Dodongo Skip. It uses it's essentially a fancy super jump. So when you're in the air after doing the super jump, you can use your sword to redirect where you're jumping by hitting off of certain objects to skip having to fight these Dodongos, which is very nice.
Yep, and it also allows us to skip an extra key.
So nice.
So yeah, SeYsEy is already on his way to the boss here. This boss isn't that difficult. I mean, we've had the hardest boss, that being Molarm. I'm not kidding, it actually is the hardest boss.
Oh, and that was a clean fight. So SeYsEy now will be attempting a trick called Instrument Cutscene Skip, and he
missed it. So that's a frame perfect trick there. where he you have to land on the instrument, and the frame you land, you open your menu, then pull up the save and quit menu, and that allows you to save and quit while still collecting the instrument.
Oh, nice. Node made it, and you can just see how much time that saves not having to watch that cutscene.
That caught him right up. So yeah, we actually cannot do ICS on D1 because it skips the trigger to be able to get Bow Wow, and we wouldn't be able to get into D2.
Plus, who would want to leave Bow Wow behind? That would just be so sad.
I mean, he'd just be happy in Mabe Village.
I suppose. But he wouldn't get to go over the island.
Yeah, he wouldn't go on any adventures, I guess.
So now the two of them are headed off to Animal Village to perform probably the most important bomb trigger of the run, called Walrus Skip. In the normal game, you have to do this whole side quest to get Marin to wake up this walrus. It takes a bunch of time, but instead you can use the power of bomb triggers to trigger the cutscene and have an invisible Marin sing to the walrus. With this particular bomb trigger is that if you don't leave the screen at a particular frame, then you can get trapped and soft flopped, and then you have to reset at his.
Yeah, because you can't press any buttons, which means that you actually have to hard reset the console if you fail it, which would put you back at your last save and quit point, which is very far away.
And depending on whether or not you got ICS, it can be leaving D2, which means you have to completely redo D3 all over again.
Yeah. Fortunately, both of them got it. Alright, so here we just sacrifice 2 arrow to the sand pit. Oh, no god, text box.
Really wasn't satisfactory in his sacrifice.
Yeah,
also
I guess
had
so.
to sacrifice some time.
Maybe you should have brought in like a goat or something. I don't know.
One of the animals from the Animal Village.
Yeah, that would probably suffice.
Maybe the bunny that makes you soft lock from Walrus Skip.
Yep. So they're gonna open up D4, which is very important. If they forget to open D4, it's a soft lock, and they have to hard reset.
And the reason it's a soft lock is because they're actually entering it from the back here. SeYsEy there,
Yep,
you saw him do a sort of different version of a super jump called a shack jump.
It's basically a naked, unclipped super jump, which you can do in certain spots.
It sounds harder than it is.
Yeah, it's really easy, actually. But the reason that forgetting to open D4 would be a soft lock is because they're entering it from the back, so the water would still be there. They don't have the flippers, so they would just be in a loop of drowning, and if they save and quit, they'll save and quit right back to where they were. And that would completely kill the run, actually. Because even at that point, even a hard reset couldn't save you. So what Node's doing here is what we call dumb jump. You can see why. You have to do a trick jump around this bombable block, and then also avoid getting hit into the water by the Tektite. It's just horrible.
So apparently Spice says that resetting does save you. It's because it puts you to your save and quit, last save and quit spot, so.
Oh yeah, no, I was talking about, like, if you've already saved and quit, then a hard reset can't save you. That's what I meant.
That's fair. So now SeYsEy does a very cool looking super jump there to get the Nightmare Key. Hop on over to the boss. Even normal jumping was underestimated by the developers because you can easily make that gap.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so Note's doing the easier setup for that jump, which most people do. The one that SeYsEy did with the double super jump is actually super hard. So props to him for getting that.
Man, it just looks so cool if you can pull it off.
It does.
Oh, SeYsEy getting his instrument cutscene skip there.
Very nice.
So there were 7 of those instrument cutscene skips you can do. As Xander said, you can't do it on the first dungeon. And each one you do saves you roughly 15 seconds. All of them saves you a bunch of time. Node not making it.
I think it saves 15 seconds every time, so that really adds up.
Indeed. But now since we've beaten D4, what happens here is there's another big side quest you have to do involving leading a ghost to his house and a grave and so on. But the trigger for that side quest starting is going too far south, leaving the mountain.
Yeah, I think it's
range.
like below the top 4 tiles of the map.
Right. So obviously we don't want to go out of the way to do this side quest, and thankfully the level 2 bracelet, which we'll get later, means that side quest will never happen. So
yeah,
we need to make sure to get that item before we venture too far south.
And so does the ICS on Dungeon 4, actually. That also skips the trigger for the ghost to appear. And the bad thing about the ghost is, if it's there, you can't enter any dungeons. So we're just gonna stay on the top part of the map until we get the level 2 bracelet, which will then cancel out the ghost completely, like Wolfo said earlier.
So what Node is about to do here, that SeYsEy did earlier, is what we affectionately call rooster skip. You have to do another side quest, see a running theme here, to get a rooster to go over a gap to get this key. Next, you have, because of how out of bounds rules work, you have to do this crazy trick with the hook shot. But in this version of the game, due to the out of bounds rules, you can just jump over to the key, which is very nice.
Yeah, because our rules are like pretty odd, which is really needed for this game. That trick is actually considered out of bounds. But in this run, it's allowed. So they're now both making their way over to D7. SeYsEy is already there. And you might remember struggling a lot with D7 with that stupid ball as a kid. Yeah, we're not gonna do any of that. Sorry. Instead, we're just gonna bomb trigger all these pillars, and that'll skip most of the dungeon.
Yeah, it's so convenient that this works, because having to fight the mini boss and throw the ball around, it's...
God, yeah.
Oh, and SeYsEy doing the risky shack jump.
Yeah. It is risky, but then again, it is really easy, so...
You shouldn't miss it if you go for it, if you practice it a little bit. But if you mess it up, then those pits won't send you to the beginning of the room. They drop you down the floor, and then you have to climb back up.
Yeah, it wastes like a minute or something.
And the next trick, so normally you would need the hook shot to get up to the nightmare fight, or not the nightmare fight, the boss. But will you make it?
Yeah,
nice.
we never get the hook shot, so we can't really do that. Instead, we're gonna just do a super jump on top of that Goomba and get on the platform, which is called Goomba Surf.
It's a annoying trick. SeYsEy made it look easy there because the RNG god smiled upon him, but the Goomba has to line up in a certain spot for it to work, And the naked super jump you have to be in a exact right pixel, and the super jump itself can be a little tricky. Getting it to work is nice. And SeYsEy also using the save and quit menu to skip some text. Alright, Node's turn.
And SeYsEy actually didn't quite get the timing right on Goomba's serve because he actually got stuck in the wall there, so he had to use the boots to get out. Oh, so does Node.
Well, I bet he made it though.
And no ICS for SeYsEy.
The absolute worst feeling is when you do Goomba Surf, you get stuck in a wall and the boots can't save you. You're like so close to actually making it, but nope.
It's arguably worse if you get the RNG first time and then you mess it up.
Oh god, also worse.
That happens to me all the time.
So as we mentioned earlier, you have to stay kind of north on this mountain range until we get the level 2 bracelet. So SeYsEy is going to go over here to Dungeon 8. Once again, doesn't have the hookshot, but he can use the mushroom to sort of hover in air. This particular gap you can just get over with the boots and the feather, skipping having to save Marin, which is in cutscene.
It's like a minute-long cutscene, I believe.
Yeah, and you keep on thinking it's over, but then a new person just comes out and helps you.
So this is the fiery pit of death that kills. You have to do an already pretty tricky jump to the bottom left corner of that pit, then use the mushroom, and then either, depending on your strat, you have to either be facing up or do a frame-perfect jump up. So what SeYsEy did there was a shovel buffer where he buffered a dash with a shovel so he can just jump up with a dash. And it's a really hard trick.
Of course, SeYsEy made it look easy.
Yeah. Oh, and Node jumped short.
Node.
Oh, now he has to do multiple mushroom hovers there.
But it looks like... There we go.
He
looks
made
like he'll get it.
Alright, yeah, so he also used the shovel buffer. Alternatively, which is just slightly faster, you can also press up and jump on the same frame, which will then let you do a normal jump up instead of falling into the pit.
And the problem with that method is not only is it frame per... you have to press them on the same frame, but you just barely make the jumps too. So it's kind of nerve-wracking.
Yeah. But with a bit of practice, that one isn't too bad. It's just the risk of not pressing them at the same time, really. So yeah, they're gonna bump. Go ahead.
Sorry. So I guess first, in order to get into this dungeon, you normally would need the ocarina, but you can use mom triggers to get in here. Up the turtle and clip through his head that doesn't have a hitbox for a while for some reason.
Because this game is well made. Alright, so most skippable mini boss. Hashtag bring back Blano skip.
Right now, Blano skip by the rule set is out of bounds in LADX.
And in this game. But because this is Warpless, out of bounds is allowed, so we can do it.
Right.
So yeah, D8 is another dungeon that we are going to split, like D2. We're gonna get the Fire Rod, which, like you can see here, is completely broken. And then we're just gonna basically get the boss key and get out.
And so the reason why the Fire Rod is so broken is that you may or may not have noticed this, but Link's Awakening is kind of a laggy game. So you can exploit that by if you swing the fire rod, or the magic rod, excuse me. So you transition to another screen, it can spawn a bunch of those magic sprites. So many sprites on the screen, it will deload certain things, such as bosses. which is extremely convenient. In addition, the one particular thing that is nice in this dungeon is, like we mentioned earlier, you have to get the level 2 bracelet that ghost cutscene to, or the ghost side quest to not happen. Normally, the level 2 bracelet is the dungeon item of D6, but the coincidence of coincidences, there's a bunch of filler rooms in the dungeons, and it just so happens that the filler room of D8, in that particular spot that you can zip down to using cue ball, just so happens to have a copy of the level 2 bracelet. So you can just pick it up in D8 instead of having to go to D6. So lag.
Yeah, this is what I like to call 1 FPS maze.
If you didn't see how laggy the game was before, you can see how laggy it is there.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. So you really want to get through that maze as quickly as you possibly can, because making a mistake is just much more costly than anywhere else, because it takes you a lot longer to recover from it. Alright, so Node is now also on his way to the 1 FPS maze.
Oh, so slow. Even in LADX, this maze can get a little bit laggy, but not quite to this extent.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's slower to deload the Armos in the maze and get rid of the lag. I wish it wasn't.
SeYsEy has to be a little careful here with his health. If you die to these bomb fairies, then you have to go all the way back to the beginning of the Armos maze, which
oh, that's terrible.
Is so bad, and it happened to me in my race.
Oh no. Yeah, but if you go the left way around that little island, so to speak, Bow Wow always eats the Armos, so he's fine. And what SeYsEy was trying to do there is he was trying to shoot a bomb arrow towards the dungeon mid-jump, and then put in the key, which would have made Bow Wow eat the cutscene. Because cutscenes are entities, apparently. But he failed it.
Bow Wow's hunger knows no bounds.
Yep, he can eat the fabric of reality.
So now that we have the magic rod, a lot of these dungeons are going to turn into, let's just despawn everything. Nice property of a lot of the rooms that require you to kill all the enemies is that if the enemies don't spawn, then the door never closes. You can just
that's
keep
pretty
on
cool.
going.
Unfortunately, like we saw Dragon do in his improv race, if you do it on, for example, the Horsehead's room, the doors definitely close and you are soft locked.
Oh, poor Dragon.
Yep. So, because we have the magic rod now, you see this amount of hearts? Yeah, we're not gonna get any more than this. Because bosses don't exist anymore.
And so when you despawn the bosses, the boss obviously isn't there to drop the heart piece when you kill him. So
that would be awfully convenient.
That would be so convenient. I mean, I guess you would have to waste a little bit of time because the heart piece, you have to have the little cutscene of Link holding the heart piece above his head. Ooh!
Yep. And nice ICS for SeYsEy.
But if you want some really intense, low damage end game, then go watch LADX No Stew or the raw any percent categories.
Yeah, those have even fewer hearts. So unfortunately, SeYsEy failed to deload that owl cutscene there, and that wasted actually a pretty significant amount of time. Probably like 15 seconds or something.
Wow, is it that much?
Yeah,
I didn't realize.
I believe so.
Oh, Mr. Owl, we don't like talking to you. We can't read what you're saying.
No, we
None
don't.
of us know Japanese.
Oh, Node opting not to despawn that room. That's interesting.
It's not too much of a time loss to do that.
Yeah.
If you don't go for the despawn at all.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of these despawns haven't really been timed. So we're just doing them without knowing if they're actually faster.
I'm sure somebody is tested it at some point.
Maybe. Yeah, we are now in D5. Also, a very short dungeon. Every dungeon from now on is gonna be short, really.
And yes, we didn't actually beat the boss of Dungeon 8. We'll go into that a little bit later, but it is, as Spice says, it is faster for routing because of where the dungeon will, so you get the instrument.
Oh, and SeYsEy played it very risky there. He failed that despawn and then just barely saved it by leaving the room. Otherwise, he would have had to fight Master Stalfos.
At D5, in categories, for instance, in LADX, is because it's very slow. The dungeon is spread out, but in this category, since we don't actually need the hookshot because we can despawn the boss. Please don't die.
Please don't die. Alright, he's using the mushroom. Yeah.
There we go.
I thought he was going to do that. Alright, he did it. If he had died there, he would have lost probably about a minute, I want to say.
Yeah. That is the second of the dumb jumps, and it is a very dumb jump.
Yeah, that jump is... the dump, yeah. It's a dump now. That jump is pretty tight. So yeah, normally you're supposed to pull back that bridge with the hookshot, but as you can see, we don't ever get the hookshot, so it's faster to just jump over it.
And getting the hookshot, even if we wanted it, it's just so slow to get it, because you have to fight the mini-boss 4 times.
It would probably take a couple minutes. And SeYsEy gets another ICS.
Very, very nice. SeYsEy's been doing pretty well in these ICSs. I think he's missed 1?
Yeah, I think so. Also, fun fact, you can frame perfectly jump out of these transitions on the way to and from D5. But yeah, it's frame perfect, like I said.
All the best tricks are frame perfect tricks.
That's true.
And so not only does despawning the boss not give you your heart container, but which means we won't get more hearts. You also don't get your hearts refilled. So you gotta be a little bit careful. SeYsEy picking up the fairy there to refill his hearts, which was probably a good idea.
Yeah. And that is actually the last heal of the run.
Unless you go a little out of the way in D2, but probably that won't happen.
Yeah, if they're low on hearts there, they might go for a fairy in D2.
Now they're gonna beat the D8 boss, and by beat the D8 boss, I mean they're just gonna despawn the D8 boss.
There is no boss here.
No boss, just a pit of lava.
Yep. So, and another ICS. Wow.
Oh my goodness.
What's that? 6 out of 7? Oh, we still have one to go. Actually.
No, 5 out of 6 because he hasn't done D2 yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the reason that you ideally do D8 in that order is that warp that he came in from, it's very convenient to break the dungeon in half and leave from that direction. If you had beaten D8 in one go, then it would put you at the beginning of the dungeon, and then to get to that warp, you'd have to go through the dungeon again, which is slow.
Yeah,
you beat D8 now, and that puts you at the beginning of the dungeon, which makes it really easy to get to D2. And then once you beat D2, you can just head straight to the egg, which is... This is just the way to go.
Yeah. Yeah, it just ends up being a lot more convenient for routing. And a lot faster, of course. So yeah, Node also got that ICS there.
Very nice, very nice.
You're not supposed to have boots in D2, so these D2 sections, they're not made for that, so you can just bonk across them. And another one for
Oh my god,
wow.
all but one. That is very impressive.
You should change his name to Mighty Mouse.
Thank you. Be careful with those flowers. You can clip slightly. You can clip slightly into the D2 entrance to get around them, but.
Alright, let's see if he can get it this time. He gets it first try. That's at least a couple minutes faster than his last race. So the bad thing about this bomb trigger here is because you despawn the owl on the screen below it, if you fill the bomb trigger, you have to despawn the owl all over again every time, and it's just so terrible.
You can run off and get the ocarina.
It is an option.
Always an option. SeYsEy heading right into the egg. A couple interesting things about this egg. So first he has to go through this maze here. There's a particular order that you have to read to get to... There's an order you have to go through to get through this maze that you have to read in a book, but by default, if you don't read the book, it's always the same. And next, they need to perform a blob quick kill, which is extremely important because they don't have powder right now, which is what you normally need to kill the blob. I think that's good.
But fortunately, we have a manip for this now by pulling the sword out of the menu and tinking against the wall there. We can get that quick kill 100% consistently. Although, because SeYsEy opened his menu, that tells us he's not going for the Aghanim manip that was found by Vlak recently. Because his frame count is now messed up, and that affects the RNG on Aghanim. But he still got no blue balls.
There you go. Such skill. And he gets the Moldorm quick kill. You can stun lock Moldorm into that one position and just wail on him. Very convenient.
Yep, so this is Ganon. Ganon is dead. Almost dead.
He's dead. And here's a random sphere that just instantly dies. Who knows what that's all about?
Alright, so Node is going for the quick kill, judging by his menus here. Or, the manip, I mean.
Wolf and Xander are commentating.
No, you're winning for sure.
I've beaten you, yes!
Alright, so SeYsEy is done.
Oh, and even getting that text gift there.
And he's gonna get another one. Very nice.
With skills.
And SeYsEySR finishes with an official SRL time of 47. No, what was it? No, 45.
Exactly.
I was looking at the PB comment that was posted there, which was his previous PB. But yeah, he finished with 45 exactly.
Very nice.
Yeah,
very
GG
nice.
to him. That's actually a very solid time. So now that we have a bit of time, I think we could talk about the manip a bit, because we just kind of brushed over it. So basically, once you enter this room, you start like a sort of frame count, which determines your RNG on Aghanim. What also affects it is your X position, so you can be on a fixed, or whatever, you can be on the odd or an even pixel. And that's what really determines if you get a energy ball or a blue ball. So your subpixels change this this RNG here, which means that we have to be in a very specific spot depending on every position. And it's just terrible. But fortunately, SpiceFather has made an app for us that can tell us exactly what pixel to be on for what position, which is amazing.
Spice.
Shout out to you, Spice.
And Node finished with an official time of 46:23, which is in fact a PB for him.
Very nice.
By seconds.
Alright, so SeYsEySR looks like he's coming in for an interview. Node is not. Hi there.
Hello.
Congrats on your win.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think you actually had a really pretty solid run, didn't you?
That was really good. Really happy with that run. Only like D5 was bad. I lost 30 seconds on it, but except that, everything was really good. So yeah, pretty happy.
You were nailing all those ICSs.
Yeah. Yeah, you saved about 8 minutes over your last run's egg split at least. I mean, that's something.
Indeed.
So yeah, I think it was actually a pretty close race for about the first half.
I can't hear you. I don't know why.
Oh, you can't? Oh no.
I don't know how to fix that.
That's an issue.
It looks like SeYsEySR's gonna go restart Discord. Oh, Discord.
Yep. So I think let's see how many people Node actually bopped with that PB.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear us?
Now?
I can hear you now.
Cool.
Hooray.
So congrats on the win.
Yeah, thank you. Did you hear my answer?
Oh yeah, we heard everything.
Yeah. Okay. Nice.
Yeah, I was saying you at least saved about 8 minutes over your egg split from last race.
Yeah. Not taking the ocarina saves time.
Yeah. Yeah, your ICSs were just amazing, really.
Yeah, I got 5 ICS, I think. This is really good, especially on a race. So.
Yeah, for sure.
How was Noad's run?
Node's run was pretty okay. I didn't see all of it because we were kind of focusing on you because you're way ahead. But I think it was actually pretty close for like the first half, and then you really started catching up with all those ICSs.
But I think Noad's got a PB, no?
Yeah, he did.
Like, yeah,
he got a PB.
47 is PB.
Like a minute.
You got a
minute
20-second PB.
Oh, Node apparently got also 5 ICSs, which is really good.
Yeah, 5 assists is really good.
I do have to say though, in terms of palette choices, I think you won there, SeYsEy.
Thank you.
Red and intense.
What has he done with his colors?
He made our eyes lose in any case.
It's red and lime green.
Oh my god, that seems
I mean,
awful.
it's not a bad palette. It's just really bright.
Yeah, so Link right now is shipwrecked on an ocean of blood.
The blood of the bosses we never got to fight.
We got a couple in there.
Yeah, some of them. How many do we actually fight? Like, 2? Or 3?
I think it's 3. Like D1, D3, and
D4.
2, so 4
True.
bosses. Plus the last one.
Yeah, it's just
the last one
weird
is-
sunset. A weird red and lime green sunset.
Yeah, I'm watching the restream now. It looks
Yeah.
weird.
We're sorry,
It looks
no.
like someone is on drugs.
Well, I mean, it was all a dream, so.
That's true. Could be a lucid dream, you know?
See? Maybe the lucid part of the dream is how Link can do all these crazy glitches and super jump. And...
Yep. That
Makes
That's
sense.
the real dream.
SeYsEy, so far you've been doing pretty well in this journey. Is there
Yeah.
anyone you are excited to go up against, or hope you don't go up against?
I hope I will be against Olos actually.
Ooh, interesting.
Olos is a legend. I
He
hope I
is.
will be
I'm
against
actually
him
up against
somehow.
him right now. Well, this round.
How you feel about it?
I'm gonna lose. I'm gonna give it my all. I'm still gonna lose.
Hey, you never know what'll happen.
Yeah, that's true.
May have to go and get the ocarina.
That would be something. Yeah, I think that's about it. Any last words about your run, SeYsEy?
About my run, I don't know. Just pretty solid overall. Really happy about it. Especially that
it was a very good time.
not got a good time. If my run wasn't that good, I could have lost. Really happy,
Mhm.
really happy about what I did.
So yeah, if we take a look at the schedule here, our next LA race is tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern time, which is me versus Alos on Speed Gaming 1. So look forward to that.
Luck.
I actually don't have the Speed Gaming schedule up, unfortunately. I don't know if you do.
I
Wolfos.
have it up. So it looks like the next thing is going to be in about 4 minutes on Speed Gaming, Super Metroid Double Anti-Bingo Tournament. And like I understand what anti-bingo is.
That sounds very interesting.
And if you want more Metroid at 6, there's a Metro Zero Mission 100% tourney with, Crunchy is going to be in there on Speed Gaming too.
That's pretty cool.
Crunchy likes a fellow LA runner.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like other than that, it's a lot of Metroid. There's some Wind Waker randomizers and Link to the Past randomizers if you want that later tonight.
Yeah, I
The
think
Mega
that's
Man randomizer. I saw Ellen
Right.
too, and I was like, "Oh, is it a Mario Maker 2 stream?" But no.
feels bad, man. I mean, Mega Man 2 isn't a bad game. Don't get me wrong. I like it, but you know, Super Mario Maker 2 would be something. Is what I'm saying.
I never got into Mario Maker, and I never got into Mega Man. So either one wouldn't be
Yeah,
great
so
for
I
me.
think that is about it from us. So we will be heading off here. Anyone got any final words?
Nope.
Keep watching the turning.
Yep. Yeah, look forward to those future races of this tournament. They're gonna be very cool, especially this round with the Swiss round 2. We're gonna see a lot of close matches. So that's it from us. Thanks everyone for watching, and we will see you in the next race. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.